This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
So today for me, yesterday for you, sitting here working on a Sunday because things are too tense and the matters before us are too important to not do so. AOC, by the way, I don't need a pat on the back. I'm just trying to give you the timeline. I said it was today, but it's not today. Tomorrow, it's for you because I'm posting this tomorrow on Monday. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez was on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, who's adult, not AOC, Chuck Todd. He's terrible. I mean, short of Fox News and Newsmax and OAN, you got Chuck Todd. That's neither here nor there. We're not going to talk about how terrible he is, other than what I just did. But he's interviewing AOC about the recent insane ruling of the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade, to overturn 50 years of precedent. And what do we do now? What can we do now? There are a lot of answers. But it's going to take action from our elected representatives and courage to actually do it. It's going to take Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to do something. Not just send out fundraising emails, because the Democratic Congress we've had a majority in both houses and in the executive several times over the course of the decades. Never have they codified Roe into law. I'm getting away from the point here. We'll talk about all of this, but let's play the clip from AOC and Chuck Todd, and we'll address these points one by one on the other side.
I know most of what may change things is going to have to be done at a ballot box. But what would you like to see the Biden administration do between now and November?
I think what we need to do is show the American people that when they give the Democratic Party power and when they actually do vote for us, that we will be using and we are willing to use the power that they do give us in order to merit increased expansions in our majority. So in terms of what I think the president's administration should be able to do, we have many ideas. We have some ideas coming from Senator Warren, signed a letter along with 25 other Democratic senators asking President Biden to explore opening healthcare clinics on federal lands in red states in order to help people access the health care and abortion services that they need. We also must, and President Biden did indicate that he was going to start looking into expanding abortion access via the pill, as well as educational efforts henceforth. But also what I believe that the president and the Democratic Party needs to come to terms with is that this is not just a crisis of Roe. This is a crisis of our democracy. The Supreme Court has dramatically overreached its authority. We had two conservative senators in the United States Senate, Senator Manchin and Senator Collins, come out with a very explosive allegation that several Supreme Court justices misled them during their confirmation hearings and in the lead up to their confirmation. This is a crisis of legitimacy. We have a Supreme Court justice whose wife participated in January 6th and who used his seat to vote against providing documents that potentially led to evidence of such to investigators in Congress. This is a crisis of legitimacy, and President Biden must address that.
There are some brilliant ideas put forth here that we should talk about. One, I think it's great to try to set up clinics on federal land that is untouchable from the state. Federal control over lands. States like Idaho, that the vast majority of the state is federal land. Out of reach from state authorities. They don't control what happens there. They don't control the funding or anything relative to these lands. Same could be said for Utah. All kinds of federal land in Utah. Texas, Louisiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota. Especially these rural red states, there is plenty of federal land on which to set up clinics to help women who need health care related to abortion. The other thing is to greatly expand access to abortion pills, which, as I stated in a previous video yesterday, just seconds ago for me, for you it's yesterday, this Axios headline that Merrick Garland has come out and said that states cannot outlaw abortion pills because they've been deemed safe and approved by the Federal Drug Administration. Now, let me give a couple of examples of things that we need to do. That not we need to do, but maybe we need to pressure. We need to pressure Joe Biden to get out there and make a speech. We need to dispense with this romantic notion about the filibuster. The filibuster. We need to jettison the idea that the filibuster has any efficacy in a modern government. Lose it. Not just give a speech and call for it, but campaign specifically on getting rid of the filibuster. We're past the point now of saying, well, let's go back to the talking filibuster where they actually have to do the Mr. Smith goes to Washington. No filibuster. When a majority wins, and listen, save the slippery slope arguments. I've been hearing a lot of people who say, well, we don't want to do that because what will Republicans do? What have they already done? They don't have the filibuster now, and look what they have achieved. Regression. And then once we get rid of the filibuster, we codify Roe into law. We codify the right to abortion into law, into legislation. We codify the right to equal marriage into law. We codify the right to contraception into law. That is what we do. People talk about what a tactician Mitch McConnell is. We need a tactician on our side. Not someone who sends texts out. I'll just throw up images of the text messages I got from Nancy Pelosi. And sorry, look, if you're a Nancy Pelosi fan, sorry. Now's not the time to be trying to raise money for your own campaign. Because you did nothing. The draft memo leaked. We knew this was coming. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi did nothing. They did not propose anything. They did nothing. Instead, she gets up there and reads a poem. Am I pissed? Yeah, I'm pissed. You should be pissed. You should want to hold your leaders accountable, whether they're on your team or not. Gross. Millions of women all across this country are having their necks stepped on. And Nancy Pelosi's reading poems. Chuck Schumer's doing nothing. We need leaders who will do something. I'm not saying they don't care, but maybe they don't care enough. Maybe they don't have the stomach for the fight. The other thing that we do once we get rid of the filibuster and codify these things into law is pack the court. Not 9, maybe 11 justices. If not 11, let's go 13 or 15 or 17 or 21. The Supreme Court has not always been 9 members. We started with 6. 5. We've had different numbers throughout the years. The Supreme Court doesn't set the rules for itself. Because of the checks and balances given by the Constitution, Congress has that check over the court. Congress organizes the courts per the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution that we have 9 justices and this is the way it is. Article 2, Article 3. These things are stated. Congress has the authority, the power to organize the courts. Expand the court. Because it's filled with liars now. The Supreme Court is filled with vile, sinister, disgusting, anti-democratic liars. Watch this clip while I wipe my face, watch this clip of the 5 justices. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 5 justices lie. Well, at least 4 of them lied outright when asked about their opinion on Roe v. Wade and whether it was settled precedent, whether it was a super precedent, whether it was going to stick around, whether they would overturn it. For the Washington Post, watch this clip.
I believe the Constitution protects the right to privacy. And I have no reason or agenda to prejudge the issue or to predispose to rule one way or the other on the issue of abortion.
Roe versus Wade is an important precedent of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has reaffirmed the decision, sometimes on the merits, sometimes in Casey, based on stare decisis. And I think that when a decision is challenged and it is reaffirmed, that strengthens its value.
It is a precedent of the United States Supreme Court. It was reaffirmed in Casey in 1992 and in several other cases. So a good judge will consider it as precedent of the United States Supreme Court, worthy as treatment of precedent like any other.
This is an important precedent of the Supreme Court that's been reaffirmed many times, but then and this is the point I want to make that I think is important, Planned Parenthood versus Casey reaffirmed Roe and did so by considering the stare decisis factors. So Casey now becomes a precedent on precedent.
People use super precedent differently.
Okay.
The way that it's used in the scholarship and the way that I was using it in the article that you're reading from was to define cases that are so well settled that no political actors and no people seriously push for their overruling. And I'm answering a lot of questions about Roe, which I think indicates that Roe doesn't fall in that category. And scholars across the spectrum say that doesn't mean that Roe should be overruled. But descriptively, it does mean that it's not a case that everyone has accepted and doesn't call for its overruling.
To be fair, Amy Coney Barrett, the cult member, she hedged. The others lied outright. Impeach them. Remove them. If we don't have the votes, pack the court. That is what we do. We pack the court. They won't have a 6-3 majority then. If you add another 6, it'll be a 9-6 majority. Playing by the rules that the Republicans play by doesn't mean sinking to their level. It means utilizing the Constitution and not relying so firmly on tradition and institutionalism. Who cares that the Supreme Court for generations has been 9 members? Who cares? If you have the power granted to you by the Constitution of these United States, wield it like leaders. Do your job. Represent Americans. Represent your constituencies. Anyway, I hope that I am mirroring your passion for what is taking place right now. Because I'm beside myself. We're here, we knew this was coming. Democrats knew this was coming. For a generation, for decades and decades and decades and decades, for longer than I've been alive, Republicans have been strategizing this, playing the long game. Democrats knew. They know what the Republican Party is about. And if they didn't know, then get them the hell out of there because they're not worth their salt. They're not worth voting for. They're not worth re-electing. They're not worth being in leadership. They're not worth representing you. And that goes for any one of them. If a candidate this midterm is not willing to state emphatically, explicitly, that they are in support of abolishing the filibuster, axe them. Do not vote for them. Vote for their opponent who does. That's the only way we're going to see change in America to reverse the regression that the Republican Party has foisted on us. What do you think? I'd love to know. I'm going to end it there. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Let's talk about this in the comments. Let's talk about this on Twitter. Share this video with your social network. I want a conversation about this. We need more AOCs, fewer Nancy Pelosi's. Stated flatly. If that bums you out, I am sorry. Well, let's talk about it. I'm at Dollemore, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Dollemore. That's where you can yell at me. And if you do appreciate what I say, whether you agree or not, if you appreciate it, if you want to support my work, click the join button below. Become a channel member, $1.99 a month, or you can click on over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. Get fired up, get organized, get active, vote for the right people. Be genuine. Take care of one another.